Welcome back to the Law of Attraction Epilogue series, episode 2. What you just saw is one of my favorite movies of all time, and the movie is called Annihilation. Now, if you haven't seen the movie, spoiler alert, I'm going to be talking at length about this movie, and if you haven't seen it yet and you don't want to know what's going to happen, then maybe don't watch the video. But if you haven't seen this movie yet, I actually would encourage you to watch this video before you watch it, because I'm going to give you a filter through which to look at this movie from. And if you watch this movie after having never seen it before, with this filter in mind, this movie will explain more to you about the law of attraction than just about anything. And you're going to get some really remarkable insights. But I'll leave that decision up to you. So in this episode, I would like to give you a new model of the law of attraction. Now, this scene we just watched in Annihilation is one of the ending scenes of the movie, sort of the climax. And this scene is the most accurate representation of the law of attraction that has ever been put into cinematic form. This scene is so remarkably precise that when I watched it in theaters, I basically sat there with my jaw open because I couldn't believe what a perfect picture it was painting of the law of attraction. And so we're going to go into that today. But the model I want to give to you today is what I believe is a more accurate model to look at the law of attraction through. And that is, of course, the law of reflection. Now, if you understand this one truth that the universe is a mirror, that's all the physical manifest universe is. The only reason the universe exists is to reflect consciousness. And now, you are consciousness, right? So the only reason the universe exists is to reflect you. When you understand that, law of attraction starts to become very simple. Because the truth is that you will manifest your reality effortlessly if you understand how to control your state of being. But the first step to controlling your state of being is that you have to understand that the universe is a mirror. That's all it is. The universe is neutral. There is nobody there. It's just a perfect reflection of you. Because, as I said in the first episode, why are we all here? What are we doing here? What is life? Why am I me? Why are you you? What's going on? Well, infinity wants to experience itself. And in fact, infinity has to experience itself. That's one of the qualifications of being infinity. And so you exist because you have to exist. That's as simple as it gets. Your life, your existence is not futile. It is not meaningless. It's not some cold, dark, empty universe, unless you want to see and believe that it is. Then, of course, you have that right. From the perspective of infinity, all points of view are equally valid. Infinity, as I said, is not judging anything because it actually cannot judge anything. The meaning of being infinite means it cannot take upon itself any finite form. So the universe itself can only be infinite, meaning it is equally validating all points of view and all perspectives. But that does not mean that all points of view or all perspectives are equally beneficial or equally intelligent or even equally enjoyable. There are good points of view to adopt and there are bad points of view to adopt. And your life, your experience of life is all about what points of view you adopt. But that's for the next episode. So, once you understand that your vibrations, as we talked a lot about in the previous episode, are always attracting something to you, and your circumstances are always reflecting something to you, then you start to understand how to control your state of being. Vibrations attract. Circumstances reflect. You cannot repel anything from you with your vibration. Vibration can only attract something to you because, again, the universe is not judging good or evil, right or wrong, positive or negative. It doesn't distinct reality into those terms. It doesn't distinguish reality into those terms. It just goes, what do you want? And any energetic reaction you make is expressing what you want to the universe. So if you complain about something, all the universe sees is, okay, cool, here's some more negativity. If you focus on the positive and you see the glass half full, the universe goes, okay, he wants to see the glass half full, here's some positive stuff. That's all that's happening. There is nobody there doing anything to you. Victimization does not exist, okay? So your circumstances are showing you perfectly your past vibrations. What is manifesting around you, what you're experiencing in your personal life is showing you where your vibrations were yesterday. What you see today is what you were vibrating yesterday, so to speak. So if you are seeing positive things in your life, if your reflections are showing you more of what you're enjoying, what you're wanting to see, what you're wanting to manifest, then the universe is saying, hey, you're on the right track, dude. This feels good. You're seeing positive. Keep vibrating this direction. If your life experiences are reflecting negativity to you, something you don't want to see, low vibrations that aren't making you feel very good, that's the universe saying, hey, dude, you're vibrating the wrong direction. So you should probably start changing your vibrations. So with that in mind, if you pay very close attention to this scene with me, we'll start to break down some of these universal truths that are being expressed in cinematic form. The scene begins and the entity is just reflecting Natalie Portman with whatever she does. She approaches it cautiously, it approaches her cautiously. And after some moments of doing this, she tries to sprint out of the door to escape. And the reflection, of course, follows suit, sprints after her, and smushes her into the door. Now, when she's up against the door, she pushes against the reflection and it pushes back on her with equal force. And this is what most people try to do with the law of attraction. What you fight, you are actually strengthening. So she realizes that this entity, even though right now it seems to be a negative entity, it's actually just a reflection of her. It's just mimicking her. So she does something crucial here, critical for the law of attraction, which is that she changes her state of being and relaxes completely. She has to assume the risk that the circumstances are going to crush her. The thing's going to smush her completely against the door. But she takes the risk, changes her state of being, and it mimics her. It falls over backwards slowly next to her, and they're both lying on the ground. Next comes one of the most critical elements of the scene, which is that she stands up, and as she is staring into the reflection, as I would put it in law of attraction terms, it starts to condense into her frequency, because she had been energizing it long enough with her actions that it's now literally taking on her exact image. And this is what happens in law of attraction with our vibrational states. And so the next part of the scene is something that was highly controversial and developed many fan theories online, because the reflection appears to break the rules. And now, if you've been watching my videos, even if you just watched the last video, you know the reason why it's not breaking the rules. It's actually following the rules. She recognizes that this entity is not copying her actions, but it's actually reading her intentions. It's reading her mind, essentially. And that's why it copies her with such precise accuracy. So she realized she was actually telegraphing her moves through her mind. So what she does is amazing. She cradles the grenade in her hand with the reflection, and she has to focus and imagine in her mind accepting her demise. She flips open the trigger on the grenade, and she stands there for 1 or 2 seconds, completely relaxed, sort of accepting her demise. And then while she's still visualizing herself standing there, she runs out of the lighthouse, and the reflection follows suit and stands there holding the grenade. And when she looks back at the entity, it stares at her with a completely blank expression on its face. Why? Because there's nobody there. It's just a reflection. It's just a neutral entity that's copying you. And this is what so many people get wrong in the law of attraction, is that it's not reading your actions or your words, it's reading your first movement of consciousness which is desire. So, what is the moral of the story here? The moral of the story is something I already hammered home a lot in the first series, but bears repeating, which is that you should never, ever, ever take your cues on what to feel, what to focus on from your circumstances. Never take your cues from your life experiences, because if you're doing that, then you are taking your cues from something that is literally designed to take its cues from you. So you're creating a feedback loop, and reality is going to keep figuratively smushing you into the door. You have to control your state of being, and you do that by seeing only what resonates. And this is something we see on Instagram all the time. Hashtag good vibes only, hashtag ignore the haters. It's exactly what I talked about in my second episode with the piano analogy. If you're playing in D flat and you want to change your reality and manifest G major, but the sounds are echoing throughout the auditorium in D flat because that's what you've been vibrating on, how are you going to shift your reality into G major? You have to become blind to your circumstances. Haters gonna hate. Just start playing in G. And if you can ignore D flat long enough, you'll shift your reality into G major. But the ego is going to keep trying to reinforce the fact that, come on man, all you're hearing is D flat. You really think you can change to G? Look, you're still hearing D flat. It's trying to reinforce your current circumstances, which you've created. Because once you adopt a specific point of view on reality, it's very difficult to get a new one, because that point of view continues to reinforce itself because you're in a feedback loop. But you ignore your circumstances and you just keep seeing what's resonating, which is G major. And after long enough of playing in G major, the vibrations of D flat will die down in the auditorium, and all that is echoing now is G major. And you have shifted into a parallel reality. You've manifested something. And that's how the time buffer works in the law of attraction. So, if the universe is a mirror, then let's just relate it to how we use mirrors. Why do we use mirrors every morning to get ready for work? Do we stand there and stare at ourselves and just focus on all our imperfections and complain and whine? No. We use the mirror as a refining tool. We look at all our imperfections, all our flaws, and we fix them and then present ourselves to the world. So why should we do anything different in reality? If the universe is a mirror, what good is it going to do you to stand there and stare at your imperfections, your circumstances, which you don't like, which are reflecting something you don't want to experience, and just keep reinforcing it? Because from the universe's perspective, you're just asking for more of it. Start seeing what you want to see. You have to, just like in a mirror, become what you want to see, and the reflection reflects that back to you. So the real question is, if you smile into a mirror, does the mirror smile back at you? Now be careful how you answer this. You have to think about all of these questions from the perspective of the universe. How would the universe answer this question? The answer is no. The mirror does not smile back at you because there's nobody there. It's a neutral force which is only there to reflect you. You are the divine player. You're the dynamic mover. So it's just reflecting you. You're the only entity in the interaction. And you better start coming to grips with that. Because when we figuratively smile at the universe, we say in Law of Attraction that the universe smiles back at us. And this is true from the person perspective, but from the ultimate perspective, that's not actually what's happening. The universe is not smiling back at you. It's actually you smiling back at you. Because remember, the Law of Attraction is you wanting to experience yourself. And you are the universe. You are something the universe is doing. You are a way the universe is expressing itself. And so your life, your existence is not meaningless. You exist because you must exist. You must be expressed. And so everything you're seeing and experiencing in your reality is a reflection of you. It is showing you, based on what you're triggered by, what you react to, what is inside of you. So here's the final takeaway for this lesson. Anything you experience in your circumstance, anything that you react to in your experience, is showing you that it's also inside of you. Because the true self is not reactive, it is responsive. It simply is aware of the needs of the moment and it responds in accordance. But the false self, the ego self, is reactive. It is triggered. It is an automatic mechanical process that is just being triggered by stimulus. And anything that you've ever energized, any insecurity, any self-doubt, any jealousy, anger, you name it, you have energized it and allowed it to become a part of your frequency. And so what you see out there is a reflection of who you are in here. There's a famous quote by an author named Anais Nin that we've all heard before, but many of us don't really understand well. And it says, "We do not see things the way that they are. We see them the way that we are." So for example, if you see somebody, some lady being an arrogant jerk to someone, and you react like, "How can you believe what she just did? Oh, I could just slap her. She is so arrogant." Well, that's the arrogant jerk in you reacting to the arrogant jerk in her. When you aren't an arrogant jerk anymore, you aren't going to be triggered by that. You aren't going to be triggered by someone else behaving that way because it's not in you anymore. So your reaction will simply be pity, love. You'll feel bad for her and realize, oh gosh, that's a terrible state of being to be living from. Because, and here's the big thing, people's actions, people's behavior is only a 100% reflection on them. Your actions only reflect you, and someone else's actions only reflect them, period. Black and white, it is that simple. No matter how somebody treats you, the way you react to them is a reflection on you. No matter how terrible somebody was to you, if you are secure in yourself, if you love yourself and have no need from anyone, then you won't react the way they're acting. You will not be triggered to be acting the way they are. Because just the same way that instruments work with their frequencies, if I have a drum in the key of D major, tuned to the key of D major, and I smack it with a drumstick, and there's a guitar sitting next to it, if you're a musician, you already know where I'm going with this. If you silence the drum after a few seconds, you'll hear the string on the guitar that's in the key of D vibrating and echoing the sound of D. Similar frequencies trigger similar frequencies. And so if it ain't in you, it can't get you. If it's not in you, it cannot trigger you. So use that principle as a spiritual practice to refine yourself, to clean out all the dirt and the junk that keeps getting triggered, that keeps expressing itself. Because your true self is perfect and whole. It does not need anything. It is not missing anything. It does not need to prove itself. It is not insecure. It is just shining radiantly as what it already is, as what you already are, which is the infinite universe itself. Consciousness has simply collapsed itself into an individuated unit, which you call you, and you are experiencing this life, but that doesn't mean that this is all you are. There is a consciousness witnessing everything, and that, even though it seems subtle, your consciousness, your awareness itself is what you are. That's the part of you that was never born and will never die. You've always been that, and you always will be that. No matter how many lives you incarnate into, you are always just pure consciousness, because that's all there actually is in the universe. Just one being expressing itself and experiencing itself as the totality of creation. And when you understand that, you stop taking your life so damn seriously, and you can start to have fun. You can start to paint your life the way you want it to be. You can start seeing only what resonates, because you realize, I can be whatever I want. If I can see it in here, I can be it. If I have any part of me that I don't like, I can get rid of it. Not by fighting it, but by being aware of it. When life shows you, when the mirror shows you what's in you, respond by saying, okay, thank you very much. I will continue to be aware of that until it's gone. Because again, any interaction with it is energizing it. And we don't want to energize it because it's going to start condensing into your frequency. We want to ignore it. So we say, I see that, I'm aware of that. And just the awareness itself means it's already dissolving. And you can start to see who you want to be. You can start to feel the person you know you're capable of being. I can be amazing. I can be a world changer. I can be revolutionary. I'm incredible. I'm capable of anything. All things are yours. Start believing it now, because whatever you believe, you empower into existence. But it all starts with realizing that the law of attraction is actually the law of reflection. All right, it's time to announce the Instagram quiz question answers and who the winners are. Question 1 was, what you see out there is a reflection of blank. The answer was C, who you are. 53% of you guys got that one correct. And I admit that the wording was a little sketchy on my part because I was taking a direct quote from the first video. What you see out there is a reflection of who you are. But what I was really trying to ask is, the way you interpret what you're seeing or how you see what you're seeing is a reflection on who, which is of course you and nobody else. So if you got that one wrong, I'll take part of the onus on that, but more than half of you guys got it right. Question 2 was vibrations do what? The answer is D, attract. Already talked about the answer for that in the episode. 60% of you got that one right. Question 3 was circumstances do what? And the answer was A, reflect, and 73% of you got that one right. So that was the best answer from you guys percentage-wise. But then question 4, only 13% of you guys got right, which was if you smile into a mirror, does the mirror smile back? Only 2 people got the right answer, which is no. So good on you guys who got that one correct. As we talked about in the video already, there is no entity there. There's no person there smiling back at you. The mirror is just a reflection of you. So it's you smiling at you. So as we go forward in the series, I want you guys to think about what is the right answer from the universe's perspective. Ask yourself, how would the universe itself answer this question? And that's always the answer that I'm looking for. And then the last question was, what collapses the superposition of consciousness? This was kind of a gimme answer because it was literally the outro in the previous video. So I made it a little trickier for that reason. 53% of you guessed the right answer, which is D, both vibration and desire. The answer is D because desire is the first movement, again, of consciousness. It's the first action of free agency, and then the action comes after the intention, which is the observation or whatever. So the observation comes after desire, but desire is a type of vibration, and so the correct answer is vibration and desire because they're one and the same, and it's the first movement of consciousness. So if you got that one right, good on you. Overall, not so bad. The names of the people who got 5 out of 5 are at nobody. Nobody got all the right answers. So tough luck there, but I think we'll get better as we go. As we go forward, I'm going to be tallying the total numbers of correct answers from everyone who's submitting each quiz. And at the end of the lesson, all the lessons, I'm going to calculate who has the most correct answers. And the person who has the most correct answers is going to get a live coaching call with me on Instagram Live, so everyone else can see and benefit as well, if you wish. And you can also do just a private call if you'd rather do that. But I'm going to leave that option open to you, whatever you want to talk about. Law of attraction, spirituality, if you want tips, you want advice, spiritual counseling, anything like that, or if you just want to shoot the breeze, the floor is yours. So if you want to win, put your hand in the running to win that coaching call. All you got to do is answer all the questions each week and your name's in the drawing. So the next quiz will be dropped a few days after this video on my Instagram, so stay tuned for more.